Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about back extensions. Now this is quite a niche topic, it's quite a specific topic, but I feel like it's an important one to discuss, especially when it comes to improving on compound movements. And I call it the best insurance exercise in the gym because I feel like it helps so many other movements and gives you that area of bracing, that confidence to reduce injury, increase numbers based on plateaus you've reached on your squat or your bench or your deadlift, and this will help you kind of get out of that hole, if that makes sense. Now this movement primarily targets the spinal erectors, the gluteus maximus and your hamstrings. Obviously this is a posterior chain movement, which is essential because many exercises in the gym include posterior chain movements, which are ultimately fundamental movements for increasing strength, rows, pull-ups, deadlifts, anything like that. So your posterior chain, actually I find my posterior chain is stronger than the front of my body. My shoulders, my triceps, my chest, all of these kind of muscles that are for pushing. But that's just a genetic thing. Usually people who are better at deadlifts and pull-ups, that kind of thing like me, usually have, well, those are linked, if that makes sense. Whereas pushing and squatting, that kind of thing, are all linked. You're likely to be better at one than the other. It's a body type kind of thing. But let's get straight into let's get straight into how to actually perform this movement and how you can overload. So you can either do two things. You can have plates in front of you or you can have a bar. Now with plates, I would suggest progressively overloading this over time, just like I would any other movement. So you can have 120, 220s, I'm up to 520s now. I started on one. And you progressively overload the reps and, well, not necessarily sets, but the reps and the weight over time. And this just gives you that foundation that no other movement will to improve your deadlifts, to improve your squats without having to need a belt. Because I had a belt before and I would always get this really bad pain across my back. Not necessarily because of my techniques, just because my lower back was so weak and I wasn't bracing properly. Like especially on this movement or any compound movement, you should be doing that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be breathing, but you should be bracing yourself for the whole movement because that's what's going to give you stability, that's what's going to give you power output and ultimately improve your strength on all of these lifts no matter what, because you want to be progressing on your lifts over time. That's the whole point of going to the gym, whole point of getting stronger, whole point of putting on muscle. Another way I forgot to mention earlier on how to do the form is you can have a barbell across your back as well. Now this is more for advanced lifters. You want to have good stretching mobility throughout your shoulders when you're doing that, and also you can get it stuck on your neck, that kind of thing. You need to be very careful, potentially have a spotter, and also be an advanced lifter in the gym. So it all depends on if you are at intermediate stage, beginner, advanced, all these movements. I would start off obviously body weight if you're a beginner, intermediate, hold the plates out in front. Now I'm not saying I'm intermediate by any means, I've been training for 5 years, but I just prefer to have the plates out in front of me. That's just a preference thing. So find out what's best for you. You can even have the barbell out in front. There's a lot of people like that. A lot of people like to have wraps and do it like that because they've got really strong on the movement, which is the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to get stronger on the movement, not to necessarily increase your wrist strength. And then unless that's a goal of yours, I would suggest doing carries more for that. But you guys get what I'm saying. At the top of the movement, you should be squeezing your glutes because they're going to be contracted at the top. And then at the bottom, you're going to be lengthening your hamstrings. This is a really good hamstring movement. Like I said, it's building all of that posterior chain to the point where your deadlifts, RDLs, all of that kind of thing are going to be improved. But it also carries over, like I say, to your squats and your bench press by literally armoring your lower body to the point where you're unaffected in comparison to what you were at the start. You will be able to do a lot more weight without needing these extra accessories such as belts, wraps, even shoes. I mean, I'm not saying not to have these things. Of course, if you're an advanced lifter and you're getting better over time and you want to improve your lifts, by all means. I do these on and off sometimes. I prefer, like I'm going through a phase at the moment where I just like doing all my movements literally just raw. I don't like having anything else. I use wraps on RDLs, that's about it. At the moment, I'm just enjoying lifting without a belt, feeling strong in my own body and not having to rely on external kind of accessories, like I said. I do these twice a week, post compound lifts, particularly on my leg days. So that's how I've structured my program. So I structure my program upper, lower, and I take a day off in between. but that gives me enough time to rest and my muscles to recover, and also to prime the muscles. Not necessarily prime perhaps, because that would sometimes mean before, but reinforce the strength for the next session post compound movement. So say I've got deadlifts, I'll do back extensions after, or weighted back extensions after, or squats, I'll do weighted back extensions after. So it's up to you how you'd like to program it. Maybe you'd like to do it before your compound lifts to prime it, but I prefer it so that my muscles aren't fatigued before my main compound movements. People who do these often, well, it should be people who want to bulletproof their lower back, which is a lot of older people and young people, because I see a lot of people messing up their deadlift form, no matter the demographic. Obviously, older people are likely to have lower back pain, those kind of issues, because they're sitting down a lot, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day, that kind of thing. So back extensions are very good for that. They're very good for getting those muscles primed and getting them ready for everyday movements, picking up, bending down, that kind of thing. And especially as a young person, if you want to increase your weights in the gym and just overall get stronger, this is a great movement that I would recommend to do twice a week like I do. It's very overlooked. It's probably the best insurance exercise that you can do in the gym. I call it the insurance exercise because it aids all the other ones. I don't necessarily enjoy doing it as much as everything else, but everything has a purpose, everything has a benefit. So yeah, I would recommend doing it twice a week. I would recommend going hard on it and overloading it over time. When you're doing the form with the plates in front of you, keep your arms as extended as possible. Squeeze in with your lats and make sure you're not turning it into a rowing movement. Keep your arms extended, stretch out as you're going. Sorry, I don't have a back extension machine here. But make sure you're doing the form correctly. Make sure you're keeping your spine neutral, and make sure you're using the right muscles and the right muscles are working. So, hope you guys all enjoyed that video, and I shall see you later.